Hello and welcome back to my channel. Please like and subscribe if you like the content, it helps the channel grow. Gives me some motivation to get on with it as well. So today I've got a different topic. It's much less intense than my last two videos, but it's no less important. I hope you find it interesting. I want to talk about a book I found incredibly useful. It's called The War of Art by Pressfield. It's normally aimed at creative people, but I think the message within it applies to pretty much everyone as a human being. You will certainly understand the content, you've probably seen it in yourself a lot. I expect everyone has it on some level. So about the author. Pressfield did end up being a very successful writer. He wrote The Legend of Bagger Vance, which went on to become a popular film, which is an outstanding achievement by anyone's standards. However, he didn't achieve this success till much later in life. His life was a mix of a huge array of jobs, screw-ups, he engaged in self-destructive behaviour, and subconsciously all of this kind of stopped him from realising his potential. He did achieve it in the end, but the interesting thing about this book is his life and how he overcame all the blocks that got him to where he was going to be. His life was one of excuses, distractions. He was by no means lazy, he certainly worked very hard. He put a great deal of effort into his thought and study, but why did he not achieve that success till much later? Why didn't he achieve it decades ago? He engaged in an internal self-critique to really discover what was going on, and his discoveries are where this book is based. It was the self-realisation that he was his own worst enemy. His attitude, his behaviour prevented him from realising his true dreams of being a writer. In order to succeed, you really need to fight through the barriers, the excuses, everything that blocks you from realising your potential. Stephen recognised this as the resistance, a subconscious and conscious force which blocks us all from our potential. It was only later in life when he realised this resistance was what was blocking him. It was when he unlocked it, when he recognised it, he realised it was what was holding him back. The book's a very entertaining read. It's not very long. He is a great writer, and it's definitely worth reading. I'm just going to cover the key points of it and talk about the message of the book, but I thoroughly recommend you give it a read. The common one for bikers is unfinished projects. Have you got any unfinished projects? You never seem to have the time or inclination to finish them. You got a half-built bike in the garage. I know so many bikers with more bikes in pieces. There's a great quote that says, one bike on the road is worth 3 in the garage. What keeps you back from finishing them? Are you not inspired to do it? Do you have other projects as well? We all have various projects we'd like to achieve and we just never seem to get to them. And that's what the message of this book is about. This book will help you understand why you don't get things done. I mean, we all know people who are wasting potential. I myself have lots of wasted potential, so it really touched a nerve with me, but I feel like I've made so much better progression since I learnt the concept of this book. As a creative person, I've often found in the past I started projects full of inspiration and great intentions. This always wanes though. After a little while, you just can't be bothered really. And you have to understand why this is. My own personal folio is full of unfinished work, and by the time it passes and I leave that project, I never go back to it. So I really had to understand why I done this. It's very common for lots of artists, lots of creative people to have this, musicians, writers, but the key concepts do apply to everyone. Maybe there is actual reasons why you don't get a project done, but these are often just excuses, a kind of subconscious justification for being blocked. You can always find the excuses if you want the excuses. In retrospect, I think I would have achieved a lot more had I read this book much earlier in life. I now understand the blocks and I work on strategies to get around it. This YouTube channel in of itself is a method of overcoming the resistance of blocks. No matter what I do, I always try and get a video out every week. There's always excuses, the weather was terrible, I couldn't get out on the bike, all that sort of thing. But I always push and endeavour. If I have to do 2 videos the next week, I will. I've set it as almost like a rule that I must get something out, and I absolutely love the feedback I'm getting from it as well. I never let the fear of failure block me from doing this, and I should have started it many years ago, but here we are. Why can some people get through this and some don't? Admittedly, any project takes up a lot of time and effort. Your estimations are always out. It's always way more work than you realise, but it's not impossible. Why is it some people can sit and build a bike or a similar project, and maybe yourself, you get to a certain point and then it just gets shelved? It certainly isn't laziness. I mean, we're all prone to laziness, but it's not the key factor. It's not what's stopping you from engaging. As a good example, your projects and work have to be finished, and you always push through and get them done. Why is it you do that in work? It's not just because you're getting paid. There's an actual professional need to get it done versus the freedom, so to speak, where you were working on your own things and don't get them done. So where does this internal resistance come from? It can vary from person to person, but there are common themes in all of us, and it manifests in various forms. So the first source of resistance, you're in love with the idea. I see this a lot in my industry. There's lots of people who would love to be a professional artist, and I've known a fair few who had fantastic talent. However, for many people, it's the dream itself is the important part, and not just the idea. Why would a dream be more important? Well, as an example, there's lots of people would love to be an artist. They dream of being an artist. However, subconsciously they're held back by failure. One of the things about being an artist is you have to get used to being told often that your art's no good or rubbish, and there's always that thing in the back of your mind where you are going to fail at it. So a lot of people like to live with the idea that they're going to be an artist. They hold on to that dream, they build their personality around it. It's sort of forefront in their mind, they're almost in love with the dream. They then block themselves with what ifs. What if I throw all my efforts into this and fail? Let's say you're a musician and it never goes anywhere. It's far better to have that unfinished dream than actually face the catastrophe of failure, especially if you've built yourself around the idea of being a musician or an artist or similar. Many will hold on to it, but when they actually follow through, so if you start a project bike, you'll put great effort into it yourself, but subconsciously you're always worried that you might fail at it. I mean, I would if I built a bike, that's why I don't do it. What about the fear of wasted time, wasted money, people knowing you failed? This is where projects get to. People start with the enthusiasm and inspiration, and then gradually that fear creeps in. Then the fear is used as an excuse for laziness, or you seek distractions, or you use excuses to avoid dealing with the really difficult part of a project. All projects are never easy. If you want to do something really good, you always have to be prepared for the fact that there's going to be failures during the project. Fear is an enormous barrier to success. I know so many creative people that have held on to the dream. They've worked rubbish everyday jobs that they hated. They always had excuses as to why they couldn't progress. Oh, I'm too busy with work. I'm too busy with my family. I couldn't get this done. I couldn't get that done. The truth is they feel comfortable in life where there's a limbo state where they never have to face the failure, but they can carry on the dream. They can tell people their ambitions. They can talk about, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. A really good example is many people who would find enormous benefits from riding a bike never follow through with it. They have loads of excuses. It's too dangerous. What if I get hurt? What if I fail at it? All this sort of thing. And because of that fear of failure, they're stopping themselves from what is an absolutely incredible thing to do. When you do actually pass your bike test and get a bike, there's so much joy, adventure, thrills, you'll meet amazing people. There's an entire lifestyle and subculture unlocked where you could never understand until you actually get that bike and go out there. Another big source of this resistance is comfort. Often in life, in order to achieve what you have you have to push way outside your comfort zone. It takes a huge amount of mental discipline. Modern life offers incredible comfort and distraction, unlike anything in human history. When you think of all the entertainment around you, the nice food, we live a lifestyle now far beyond that of even a king a couple of hundred years ago. But what you have to understand is, in history, great heroes faced almost impossible challenges. Yet they achieved great things. Crippled with disease, impossible odds, they still pushed on. So how did they achieve it? And I can't get off my arse and do that one little project that I wanted to do. Let's just say, for example, you wanted to learn piano. There's a lot of people maybe want to learn piano, but deep down there's that fear of the challenge, fear of failure. So you start making excuses. Oh, it's expensive, I don't have the time, I've nowhere to put a piano, I'm too busy, and so on. Yet you will sit and binge a TV series for hours. Success is always found in discomfort. Life has never been more comfortable than it is now. You can entertain yourself to death. It takes a lot to have the discipline to say no to life's pleasures and break habits and just sit and do the work. Self-critiquing yourself is very important. In retrospect, I am very upset with myself that I've done this too. All the things I could have done, but I just wasted time instead. This is one of the reasons I worked on children's books with my friend Andy Dilks. You'll see in the description below. I'd always wanted to do it, but I was always subconsciously blocked. I still managed to watch all the seasons of Breaking Bad. I still managed to watch loads of films. But deep down I worried that if I had the talent to do a decent children's book, I worried, would my art be good enough? I put up a bunch of mental blocks and then lived with a warm, cosy thought that one day I was going to do it, and then just never got round to it. Then I just filled my life with entertaining distractions. A big source of the resistance are habits. We all get into habits. Maybe you like a beer on a Friday night. I cannot begin to describe the number of artists I know who got into partying, booze, etc. and never progressed. And I do wonder how much of this was the resistance, the fear of failure. I've seen many great talents squander their gifts. Now, by no means is being a professional artist easy. Like anything in life, competition is fierce, and you have to put in thousands of hours at your own discipline to get anywhere. Talent is only a tiny fraction of it. You've really just got to get your head down and graft. You need to understand that you could dedicate 10 years of your life to doing something and still fail. Lots of young people come to me and ask about being a pro artist, and I tell them the key is not just talent. It's when you're faced with so many wonderful distractions that you must put them down and get on. You really need to drop pointless habits. You don't have to live as a monk, but it's just a case of putting positive hours into your own projects first and then rewarding yourself at the end of it. Procrastination has its roots in this fear of failure too. We aren't just talking about creative projects. Fitness is a good example. If you set about fitness with goals, it's unlikely you will ever achieve them. Goals are awful. They set you up for failure. It's far better to ignore goals, as I'm going to lose an amount of weight or achieve something. You just have to look at it as forming a more positive habit. So if your habit every day is to go to the gym at 6 AM and just do an hour, then that's the habit. It's not about your final goals, it's just that is your habit now. So it's a case of forming positive instead of negative habits. And resistance will always let you lean into the negative habits easily. Sometimes a huge life problem will naturally stop progress on something. We all have those, it's an inevitable part of life. Often people will stop at this point to escape the responsibility. They may have made great progress up to then. Then a large life event or similar happens and they shelve the idea. And it takes great self-discipline to return to the idea once the issue has passed or has settled down. Say for example you wanted to be an actor and you never quite got there. What happened? Someone died. Maybe you lost your job. The blame always lies elsewhere, and you have to realise that these sort of events are inevitable in life, and the blame lies with you, not for the event, but in getting back on your project. standing up again and taking it back on, not letting it shelve and having the discipline to push on with it. Hiding is another issue. Often it's a method of avoiding a challenge to hide in something else. Maybe you throw yourself into work. Oh, you were going to do that project, but you were just too busy with work. How busy are you really? How much of it is just make work to distract you? I mean, for me, I've put up really stupid resistance, like, oh, I can't draw today, my desk is too messy. Really stupid, easy excuses I use all the time and not get on with what I need to be getting on with. Hiding is a very great way of just avoiding the responsibility of it. You can still hold on to your dream, I was going to do this, I was going to do that, but you can hide from it and just claim you're busy elsewhere. It's a great way of subconsciously convincing yourself as to not have the discipline to get on with a project. Other people are a massive force. They are a kind of resistance. You can throw yourself into the service of others. Maybe there's a need there. Maybe your partner's too demanding. Maybe someone's ill. Maybe you've got kids. Attending to other people is a great way to annihilate your potential. That's not to say you can't spend time and look after people and do what you need to do. And I know especially it's very difficult when you're tending to other people. One of the ways you do actually get round it is you carve out an immovable time for yourself and your project. So let's say once everything's tended to 7 o'clock every night, you're going to sit down and you're going to do this. It's all too easy just to plunk yourself in front of the TV and just watch garbage. You see, resistance manifests itself internally, and it's very easy to subconsciously and consciously use it as a means to avoid doing things. It plays a very long game as well. The older folk among you all know that decades can pass. You can have an idea for a project, get swept up in life, and so much time will pass, and then you'll end up full of regrets and not doing it. So how would you defeat the resistance? Well, most people don't even recognise it. The most important thing to recognise what's going on. Recognise we all have it within us. I have a sticker stuck to my PC every day and I see it and I think about it and all it says is the word resistance. So whenever I'm distracted or whatever, I can look at that and I can go, yep, this is what's going on. But the very first step is to recognise it in yourself and understand what's going on. What are your excuses? What are your distractions? What do you use to escape from doing your project? Fear, self-doubt, excuses, they're all covered up in some way or another by your subconscious, and they hinder you from doing what you're meant to do, and they block your projects. Or maybe I'm waiting on a part arriving, or you will come up with infinite excuses to not do it. But once you recognise that's what's going on, then it's just a case of sitting down and getting on with it. You have to absolutely embrace failure. The greatest progress is always made through failure. Most people, this failure is at the root of most things, but you have to be the person to pick yourself up, dust off and push on. Some people just have one minor failure and just completely give up. The real measure of you is when you fail, instead of looking at it as failure, look at it from the point of view, right, what lessons can I learn here? How can I use it to make me stronger? How can I push past it and how can I get on? Rather than just accepting it. One of the biggest problems is people just accept failure, and the key is to never accept failure. No matter how bad, you're like, right, this isn't going to last forever, I'm going to push on, I'm going to find a way through it. Sometimes it's a question of energy as well. That's what you've got to fight through. I find personally, and I don't know if this is good or not, I find negative emotion is very powerful at fighting through the resistance. Things like anger is a great motivator, as opposed to being comfortable. Comfortable, nice feelings don't really make progress. Sometimes you need to be a bit pissed off to make actual progress with it. Is part of your project pissing you off? Is someone else pissing you off? Then get on with it. Comfort. Resistance just lives on a cushion. It loves comfort. It's so easy just to sit down, watch TV, eat yourself into a stupor, drink yourself into a stupor. One of the best ways of defeating discomfort is to deliberately seek out discomfort. It's one of the great joys of motorcycles, which sounds completely insane, is the discomfort that comes with it. To get the reward of riding your bike and the pleasure that comes from it, you're either too hot, you're too cold, you get injured, just absolutely everything. We've all been there, sat in the rain with no rain gear at 10 at night in the dark trying to get home, unable to see. It's scary, it's uncomfortable, it's noisy, your gear is too hot, you're too cold. Especially in the UK, it's rare to have that perfect sort of day to ride. There's always something in the way. But if you deliberately seek out uncomfortable things and get used to discomfort, that's a great way of making progress, because then you're not so inclined to just sit down and absorb yourself in cushions and let it all sail past you. You're much more inclined to get after it. This is one of the reasons I enjoy camping. Camping gives you that pleasure reward even although it's uncomfortable. You're often cold, you're often wet. Even making a cup of tea can be a difficult technical process, but it reminds you that life is too easy and too comfortable, and you need that discomfort to make progress. I'm not saying you have to live like a monk, wearing sacks and only eating raw potatoes. You need to operate a system of reward. Rather than make pleasure the priority, you need to say, right, I'm going to spend X amount of time working on this. I have these parts of it I will achieve or not achieve, but I will definitely spend the time on it. Then when you've put the time in and you feel good like you've gotten somewhere, sometimes you don't, but it's still the importance of time spent. Then have a beer, have a sit, relax, enjoy yourself. Our society's far too focused on relaxation and comfort, which is absolutely awful. It really weakens you in the face of difficult things. You must get into the mindset of setting rituals, not goals. Let's say, for an example, you want to write a book. Maybe that's been your lifelong ambition. So you set yourself the goal, I'm going to write my book. You're never going to achieve it. However, what you do in order to write that book is you put aside an hour a day and you say, no matter what, I will write a page a day, good or bad. No matter how it comes out, I will just get that page done. After a year, that's 365 pages you will have. It's easier to edit them, it's easier to tweak them once you're already there, plus you've got the sense of achievement of doing it. A huge task seems insurmountable, but if you just build a system of rituals and habits in a positive sense, you will definitely get there. One of the most important things Stephen Pressfield talks about is professional, turning pro. A professional will turn up every day and do something. I know in my job I have to be creative all the time, and for a lot of people this is very difficult. Life is awful. You can be demotivated, you can be sad, you can have life issues. Every day I turn up and do art. I might not be inspired, I might be sad, but I will get on with it and get through it. You have to adopt the mindset of a professional. No matter what, you get up, you have that time set aside, and you get on with it. It's one of the only ways you can really push through the resistance is to keep a professional mindset. There's nothing wrong with the fear and resistance. We all have it all the time. Even the most talented, successful, skilled people all have it. You often see great musicians go to pieces when they have to do the second album. That fear, is it going to be as successful as the first? I've set such a high standard, can it ever get there? Overcoming this resistance requires conscious effort. It's something you will be at war with your entire life. But it is what's stopping you doing what's really important. It is your real enemy. It's really what keeps you back from reaching your potential and whatever that is. Ask yourself anytime, why aren't you doing the project? Is this the resistance taking hold? Oh, I just need an easy Saturday, I just need a rest, this sort of thing. Yeah, that's fine, but put an hour into your project. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I found the book incredibly enlightening, and I've put a lot of the principles in it into my life itself. I've since made so much more progress on projects I've undertaken. Sometimes projects just lay dormant for years, and then this book has inspired me to work out why I wasn't progressing with them and push on with it and in the end I got the projects done. What you have to remember, not only in the battle with this resistance that you have internally, subconsciously and consciously, your own life is finite. Time goes past so quickly. The truth is that time is the most valuable thing you have. There's not a billionaire on this planet who's 86 who wouldn't trade all of that to be 26 again. Every day is valuable, so please remember that, and please get started on the projects you want to do or the things that hold you back. Embrace that fear, recognize the resistance, and push on always and get on with what you want to get on with. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you like my content. More videos to come, and bye bye.